Hi, I'm Linda Satgast.
And I'm Charlie Satgast.
And the two of us went to Roots Tech Conference last week. So we want to tell you about it and let you know why we think it's a good thing to go to if you ever get the chance. Charlie, why don't you tell us about how big this conference was?
Well, Roots Tech is the largest, as far as I know, family history and genealogy conference in the world. It's held every year at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, and I think there were probably pretty close to about 10,000 people who were there in attendance. So it was a really very exciting and active time with a lot of people who were focused on family history.
And it was a bit overwhelming to a newcomer like us, right? We had never ever been to one before, and so but what they had there for people like us were some helpers.
Right, they had people in blue t-shirts that said, "Ask me anything," and they were always there to help, and they were all over the place. So they had lots of volunteers, and they had people in kind of, I guess they were pinkish t-shirts that said, "Spreading Joy," and those folks were walking around handing out candy and snacks and water and just there to help serve you in any way that you needed.
Yeah, they were fantastic. In fact, I was reminded again what amazing people family historians really are. Of every stripe and color and nation, just these were such fantastic people to be with this last week.
I think people who care about family and family history are just nice people.
Yep, I think so. So Charlie, you made a discovery.
I did. We've been focused on family history and telling our family stories and so on for many, many years, but we're newer to the whole genealogy aspect of it, and especially the software. So I took a deep dive into Family Search, which is a free software that helps you trace your family tree, and discovered that on my father's mother's side, I have relatives that go all the way back to Jamestown in 1607, and a lot of relatives from that early migration to the Massachusetts and Virginia area especially that date back to the early 1600s. That was pretty exciting.
It was. In fact, you spent a lot of time on your app, on your phone,
did.
going this, and we'd be back at the hotel, and there he'd be with his phone.
I can see why this is so addictive.
Yes.
And one of those wonderful people wearing the blue shirt helped me. They had a computer cafe area where you could get on a computer and you could work on Family Search. There was a lady that spent over an hour with me because I discovered my grandmother's line on my dad's side goes way back. When I put my mother in, her side of the family was non-existent. And so this wonderful lady helped me sit down and showed me, I actually had my head spinning pretty fast on all the things that she knew in Family Search, but helped me actually get my mom's side worked out a little bit. And that was just so nice of her to spend that much time with me.
Yes, it was great. Now, there was also a gigantic expo floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So much to see. We did so much walking while we were there. Walking from the hotel to the event, and then walking back, and then walking around the floors. I mean, it was just such a huge place.
The Salt Palace is a gigantic place.
It is gigantic, but it was interesting to meet a lot of the vendors. Can you give any examples of vendors that you met?
Sure. There were big vendors like Ancestry, MyHeritage, Family Search, and so on. And then there were a lot of people who are small mom and pop type family history and genealogy businesses as well. And so we got to meet a lot of people who have some really interesting approaches to both the whole genealogy side, which is tracing the family tree, as well as the family history, which is telling the stories from the family.
Yes, and so while he was kind of focused more on genealogy, I am right now kind of immersed in telling the stories. And so most of the classes, and there were a lot of classes, there were probably each session you could choose from maybe a dozen different...
1 to 2 dozen classes. It was a lot.
It was a lot. So I chose
for 4 days.
Mostly the family story ones. And it was interesting because the whole focus of the conference, the main theme, was the story of you. And it really came across, not only from the stage and the speakers, but also from the presenters. So almost every presenter that I saw talked about their regret, and you could just feel the pain that each of them had, that they missed out on getting some of the family history because of an early death or an unexpected death of a family member, and
Or just waiting too long.
Or just waiting too long, and they were urging us, tell your stories now. And that really resonated with me, because that's our message here at
That's right.
Family History Hero. Not only to get your photos out of the boxes and to get them scanned, but the most important part is telling the stories. So that was exciting to me, and it was mirrored on the expo floor because there were several companies who were trying to deal with that very issue, making it easier for people to tell their family stories.
In fact, it was the emphasis of the entire conference was the story of you. So this year there was a lot of awareness that was being built about the importance of not just going many generations down, but capturing the things that are perishable, that are just right in front of you, with your story and the story of your loved ones.
So it was a great conference, wouldn't you agree?
It was great. It was
Yes.
wonderful.
It was worth going to, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I want to go again next year.
Yes. So what I would say to you, if you are thinking about ever going to a Roots Tech conference, is give it a shot. It was, we really didn't even know what to expect. And when we got there, it was so huge and so overwhelming. And yet we were welcomed, and we learned so much, and we came home excited and ready to move ahead with our storytelling and with our genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a chance to go,
And
do it.
And we got some DNA kits too. So
Yes,
get to
yes,
explore
it was
that
my
part.
first time,
That's right. My second, her first. Yeah.
So also, if you have any desire to get your family stories told before it's too late, that's what we're all about. So be sure to join our email list. There's a link down below this video, and that way you'll have information when we have our class, which is Unlock the Stories, come out next. This is Linda Satgast
And Charlie Satgast.
from FamilyHistoryHero.com, where we help you turn boxes of photos into shareable family stories.